Hey, everybody. I think we're going to begin first. Oh.
Yes, it's a special meeting, not a study session.
Oh, we're short one council member. Okay.
Well, how about we stall by swapping them?
If you see a council member.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now 7.
Okay, here we go. We're in.
He wins his chairman.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I wasn't counting myself. Okay, gosh. Duh. Here we go. Yeah, I'm jet lagged. Thank you. I appreciate the generous interpretation. I wasn't a math major in college. So we're on for the special meeting agenda beginning for today, October 30th. And we have a quorum consisting of council members Esparza, Perales, Foley, Arenas, Davis, Vice Mayor, and myself. And we are first going to consider the ratification, termination, or extension of proclamation of local emergency due to predicted high fire risk conditions and expected public safety power shutoff. Is there any presentation, Ray or Lee?
Yes.
Great.
So good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council members, city manager, and those present in the audience today. I am Ray Reardon, the director of the Office of Emergency Management, and beside me is Lee Wilcox, city manager's chief of staff, who served as the Emergency Operations Center director during one of the shifts. We're here today to describe some of the actions that we took in response to the public safety shutoff incident from October 26th to the 28th. As we look at the actual incident, the following occurred. The National Weather Service issued a red flag warning on Friday, October 24th at 10 a.m. On October 24th, in a conference, that was October 22nd that the red flag was done. On October 24th, in a conference call and a subsequent email and telephone message from PG&E declared that the PSPS would take place due to the high fire conditions. On Saturday the 26th, PG&E confirmed the timing of the PSPS event, and the impact would occur on Saturday evening at 5 o'clock, going into 8 o'clock on Monday. For that reason, then, we activated our Emergency Operations Center at 4 o'clock that afternoon. PG&E did indicate that following an all clear, and all clear means that the weather has passed, which would take place on Monday, that they could expect power out 72 hours in certain areas, which is an improvement from the original 5 days that they forecasted before the first event. The EOC then was activated at 4 o'clock. We activated the Emergency Operations Center in anticipation of the wildland fire, so we were in place prior to the anticipated wind event. 2 days, the EOC was staffed with 27 personnel following the identified emergency operations plan and our power vulnerability plan. In anticipation of the action and the prevention activities that we're taking, the EOC director did sign the proclamation of a local emergency at 2 o'clock just prior to the EOC activating.
Thank you, Ray. The team has worked hard to better understand and enhance our own capabilities to understand and analyze the data that we're receiving from PG&E to determine where these shutoffs will occur. An example of this is for this second shutoff. It was originally anticipated, based off of the data from PG&E and the maps, that 27,000 customers would be affected and just shy of 300 medical baseline customers. In reality, that was much smaller, 7,800 customers and barely over 200 medical baseline. And as we received the data and worked through our own GIS mapping software, our own estimates were much closer to the actual reality. So as these events continue, we're continuing to be better at refining the projections, utilizing our own data, and are able to plan much more efficiently around the realities of these impacts. For this impact, there were outages in districts 2, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10. Related to our own infrastructure, we were able to anticipate, and did happen, as one satellite library, roughly 10 schools, one healthcare medical facility, and then much smaller impact around some of our transportation infrastructure with only 5 traffic signals and 8 major kind of transportation routes affected on Sunday morning. And then Fire Station 28 in the south part of District 10, as well as the communications tower there, did go out temporarily and then were brought back up on generation power. As the event unfolded and we received the all clear for the public safety power shutoff, we did receive word from PG&E that we should anticipate for a third event, and that would begin roughly Tuesday and last through Wednesday. This was much smaller. The projected customers that we were told by PG&E and our own data confirmed, about 1,500 customers throughout the city. However, as many of you probably experienced last night as you were out, the weather really never materialized in the South Bay, and luckily PG&E late last night into this morning were able to cancel the power safety shutoff, and so no additional customers were affected. As of today, according to the PG&E website, all customers in San Jose have power, and they continue to fix power lines in the city, as the second weather event had much more significant winds than we had in the first.
As with each emergency and experience in the Emergency Operations Center, there's lessons learned, activities that we can identify that improve our response, and forward-looking ideas on how we can continue to improve our efforts. For this event, we did have 2 operational periods. They're 12 hours each. Very successful, very interactive, supported by a good team of public information officers to maintain our social media, maintain the communications with the public, as well as the liaison activities with the council members in the districts where the PSPS was occurring. We did establish, once again, a very solid ground game, getting people out, knocking and talking on medical baseline customers who had not responded to PG&E's call or to other calls that were occurring, to make sure that those people were safe. We also continue to inventory our facility and be able to monitor remotely the capability of our generators so we could appropriately provide fuel. And the lesson learned here is that we had a radio transmission tower that's actually managed by the county and operated by the county, but our police and fire radios channels were on that tower, and it came within 15 minutes of going out without fuel, and we were able to respond and support the county. By that time, the county actually responded at the same time, so the generator did not go down. Very, very important that we were able to monitor these critical facilities. We also activated an access and functional needs branch within the Emergency Operations Center. We realized after the first event, we need to understand what our population at risk is and have a better response to that population when these kinds of events occurred. Learned a tremendous amount from the Silicon Valley Living Association to help us respond to that need. We also continued our great coordination with the telecom agencies. We're now able to get very good information from AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint all at the same time in terms of their capabilities in response to these kinds of events. We did continue to reach out to the public, and they provided us crowdsourcing information to maintain our GIS mapping capability, which allows us to better refine our maps and understand where the impact of the emergency is occurring. At the same time, we provided the services to the public by having 4 city resource centers activated and operating. While the attendance wasn't high, those people that did come in did report appreciating the opportunity to get their devices charged up and get some snacks and water, et cetera, at the facilities. We did, in the end, contact all medical baseline customers to make sure that they were safe during this event. And again, we will continue to develop our after-action report and complete that over the next 60 days. With that, the recommendation at this point is to adopt the resolution ratifying and continuing the local emergency, because we're not out of the fire danger yet. So we'd like to have that local emergency proclamation continue, and we'll return to you within 60 days of when we want to terminate the local emergency.
Great. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Lee. All right, any questions from the council? Councilmember Foley.
Just a comment. I actually went by the Camden Community Center on Sunday to see what was going on. There was nobody there, but they were very much prepared and had been receiving calls from people in Almaden who talked about their kids needed access to electricity and the Wi-Fi so they could do their homework. So I don't know if anyone showed up after we left, but I was really impressed with how Lisa and her team were ready to go there in case anyone did show up, and they had an ability to expand their facilities if they need be. So I was really impressed by that. And with that, I'll move approval.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, let's vote on the motion. Thanks, everyone, for your hard work. And the motion passes. We don't have any cards for public comments, so we'll adjourn this meeting. I'm told we should be taking a few minutes before we start the Rules Committee meeting because
Yes.
we need to
Switch over.
take a television intermission.
Yes.
That's what it is. All right. So we'll now hear from a word from our sponsor.